Hey everyone, you've been asking me for it. Here it is. This is the update as to what's been going on since my last eviction that happened July 11th of last year. I am currently in the middle of a civil suit with them. I am dealing with an investigator on this. There's also some other things along with it, but one of the reasons, I'll say this, there's 3 reasons why I want to do this video. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nakia. I'm known as Beauty Cut Right mostly throughout the social media world. And the 3 reasons why I'm doing this video is, 1 is to expose the corruption of the management team, those in the judicial system that work with them, and how everything has pretty much been panning out since I moved here in Florida into those apartments. 2, it's to pretty much give you updates. I mean, you guys asked for it. And then 3, it's for my protection, because there's some things that has been happening after it that it's just ridiculous. So if you have not seen the previous video of my eviction, how they did it, what happened in between that caused the second eviction, please watch that video after this one. It's very eye-opening as to how the manipulation was happening throughout all of that. And not only that, it all just surrounded around me being a targeted individual that was exploited for being new here in Florida. Not only that, I was dealing with personal things, so that got jumped into the mix, and that was honestly divinely guided in some way, shape, or form. I understand it from my own personal experience, but that was going on. And just insurance fraud, flood, it's just a lot that was going on with that. So just watch that video after this, and then I'm going to share with you some updates as to what has happened after.
And exit the apartment, okay?
And then what happens after that?
That's up to y'all, whatever y'all do on that. You know, if you gotta fight something in civil court, that's up to y'all. But I have to execute this court order. Does that make sense?
We never received anything from them saying that this was denied at all.
Okay. I understand that, but that, again,
What
that's
is this
not me.
that-
That's between you and lawyer, courts. My order was posted, which I posted on
We
the door.
never received our request. Sir.
Again, that has
You
nothing
do know
to
that,
do with me.
right?
So I'm trying to work with you here.
I know.
I
I
have to execute
understand.
this order. And today's the eviction day. Now.
We
So-
didn't know that, sir.
Okay,
We
well,
probably
you
would have
now-
been more prepared. So,
I
can
hear you.
we at least get a minute to prepare ourselves, sir?
I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes to get your initial stuff. If you've got other stuff to do, because you've had plenty of time. The 27th is when I posted the eviction, which gave you 24 hours from the
You didn't
27th.
post the eviction.
So,
Somebody
what,
else
sir,
posted the
sir,
eviction.
wait. You said it was a 24-hour eviction. So why weren't you here the
Because we
next
don't
day?
have to.
Why
That
did it?
gives you plenty of time to get out.
No, sir, you know that's not right. You know that's not right.
Do me a favor, step back, man. Please, thank you. Go ahead and start collecting your stuff, okay?
Just come on, baby.
I'm gonna get here.
Just come on, baby. Just come get your stuff, because they're about to start tripping. They're about to start using their force, they brutal force on us.
So shortly after, it was really the very next day. So this was July the 12th. This was somewhere around noon of that day. I had arranged previously the day before or the night before to be able to pick up my things. And when I did arrive to pick up my things, and I made this arrangement through Justin, I did notice that Joel called a police officer that lived within the building. And this police officer, Fabio, he escorted me to the apartment, and they allowed me to be in my apartment for a number of hours to get the things that I needed. And that's what I did. After, somewhere in between that, you know, I talked to this police officer as to what was going on. I didn't know if he knew or whatever, but I let him know this was what was going on, and it was just to share it out because it was very frustrating, because I kind of knew what was going on, and it was all illegal, period. I did that, and then in between that time, we had a conversation with Sita. Sita is one of the front desk concierge. She's an amazing woman. She told me that she had my packages for me. She said that she had packages for me in Rio. We already had an issue with Skyhouse as far as packages. We had just picked up a package that they had pushed off, so it would have been stuck in gridlock and he would have never got it, and it had to do with his job. There were also packages that I was waiting for because I had things scheduled out and getting ready to get started with work again. After all of the flood and the so-called renovations that they gave us, trying to get back to work again, I just needed those packages. And I was being evicted that day, so it really didn't matter. We just had to find somewhere else to be so I can continue to move on. They made that difficult. So it spoke to her. She had mentioned she had our packages. She said that they were somewhere in a box or whatever, and that was fine. I went to go get my things, and then I told her I would come back down and get them. Well, that's exactly what we did. And I was very upset, mainly because we had already had an issue with the package from FedEx that we were able to get back. That's tampering with people's mail. She was no longer there to even say that, she had the packages for me and that they could be found, because she was the one who said she had them. The police officer heard her say the exact same thing, and he pretty much gaslighted me after I was upset about this. I said I need to call the cops on this because this is ridiculous. I was upset. I'm pretty sure they got it on tape, so they can make it seem whatever it is, but it was upsetting how I was feeling like I was being antagonized, as if they were trying to get me to act a certain way so that they can get this on camera, because I knew they had cameras around. I knew they were monitoring me and surveillancing people. So that wasn't something that was new to me, but I was just upset because they were continuing to do this as they were illegally kicking me out of my home. And I had to pretty much feel like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do at that point because I really didn't know my rights here in Florida. So that's where the exploitation was. But who cares? I know how to fight back. I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty damn good at it. Both ways, if you want to know. But yeah, said I would call the cops. My husband came and got me because he saw how irate I was about to get, and went off to the U-Haul. I'm upset. I'm back there just like trying to calm down. He's getting me to calm down because now we talking, and this police officer comes with this warning. He comes with this. This is what he comes with, this slip, and it has the apartment manager's name on it. Pretty much telling me they wanted me to give up. They wanted me to stop fighting. They probably wanted this to cause more of an issue, but this was for me to not be able to be on the premises ever again. Okay, got you. So it's not on the original, but because I scanned it into the system, and this is what I sent into the courts, I noticed that there were two things that was happening with this police officer. With this police officer, what he did mention was that his camera was on, and I paid attention. He said, you noticed that the lights are blinking, so he made sure I knew who he was, all of that. And then he gave me this slip, and then when we got into the U-Haul, we're still like having this conversation with him back and forth, me and my husband. He's like saying things, and some of it was gaslighting, some of it was like, no, don't worry about it, don't think it's more than it is. That's what gave me the impression that, yeah, y'all are friends. Not only that, he had said that, she said, Joelle had said that I hadn't paid rent in 7 months. And we hadn't really been there we hadn't even been there in 8 months. I have receipts of rent being paid by me and by our Florida. We did receive assistance. That was mentioned in the previous video. So, yeah, that I made that a note on there. So I started making notes of everything. So after all of that incident happened, I did go ahead and report them. I reported them. I noticed some other things that were going on too, forged documents. I noticed that certain things were filed into the system a certain way. It just looked really, really bad. I had posted this on my Instagram a while back that I had noticed that even a judge's name was forged on one of the court documents when I filed for a writ to stay possession or stay writ of possession. I believe that's what I found. I have the paperwork like here, but it's in order now. I want to take it out. But that's what I did, and then they immediately denied it, but I wasn't sure of it because they were doing everything from a digital standpoint, which I am 1000% experienced in. I just did not know that this was possible here because I come from Detroit, Michigan, where everything is paperwork. So I'm glad I'm like that because I still have paperwork. I still have the originals, but everything is kind of like paperwork, and you just really don't know how the system works because they go by their own rules and doing all this. It's ridiculous in Michigan, but it's not an excuse not to get to know your laws there. So that's one of the things that I've learned from this experience. So because my things were pretty much stolen from me because I wasn't allowed to be back on the premises again, I went on ahead and did my research, and I immediately filed a suit, a civil suit in the district court here in Florida. So that's what I did first. I personally served her September the 7th, unknowingly, not even knowing that I wasn't even responsible for it, because the order of everything when you're filing for a suit, I was learning it as I was going. I wasn't going to wait. I did not care if I didn't know everything. I went for it. So that's what I did. I filed that lawsuit, and I started studying. I started finding out the local rules. I started finding out the Florida statutes, laws, the amendments that she was pretty much violating, or I would say they were violating. I started making the research on that. So I did I served her on my own, because in Michigan, we're usually the ones that's responsible for serving those in civil suits. So I was just assuming it was somewhat the same way because I was reading the order of procedure for that. But it wasn't even ready. They were moving too slow for me. That was the thing. But it didn't matter, because even though I was going through the steps of it, I learned so much, to the point where when they dismissed the case because I didn't have jurisdiction, I understood that what I was doing was based off the emotion and not really giving them, the details and nitty gritty of what really was going on and what they really violated. So that is exactly what I did. But this time I was confident to do it in the court that it belonged to be in, which was in Orange County court. So I did my civil case. So I did file it.
I just learned I'm powerful. Yes, indeed, I'm powerful. A nigga got peace, oh yeah. I'm feeling 10 feet tall, yeah. I had to just recharge, yeah. And now we gon' reap, oh yeah. Been living on seesaws, yeah. But life is gon' seem hard, yeah. You gotta just keep on, yeah. Then you can break free, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So November the 15th, she was served by the sheriff's office here in Florida. And then the next day or the next evening, or was it in the same time frame? I have it time stamped, but I noticed police officers sitting outside of my door. Well, not my door, but they were sitting outside of the apartment that I currently live in.
Having the numbers at the top of police cars' vehicles means something. About to find out.
There were police vehicles and a health professional vehicle that was sitting out there. And some police officers, I assume, were in the building, and some were kind of standing out waiting around. And then I started getting knocks at my door, my apartment. And I didn't answer. This happened maybe about 2 or 3 times, and the knocking was like annoying. And I'm looking outside, and this is around midnight. The picture, the video that you saw, that's around 2:02 a.m. They had been sitting out there for 2 hours. I think around the 3rd or the 4th knock on my door, and this is before the video, I did kind of slightly open it, like, who is this knocking at my door? Because I'd already called my husband. I'd already called him, let him know what was going on. He said, did you answer it? I said, no, it's no reason for anybody to be knocking on our door. We just got here, first of all. So there was no reason for that. Either way, I opened the door, and it was somebody of a light complexion, male, cap on, face seemed to have been covered, like his phone was on his ear, and he kind of looked and just kind of walked away. So maybe I wasn't who he was looking at, but I just found it very suspicious to see that, or to have that happen, and then to have these police officers sitting outside in this whatever they're doing like that. If you did not know from the previous video, I had mentioned that I had been in the hospital for 3 days. I had been in the mental facility, or that's what you call medical facility, mental facility. I don't know any other word to call it. People say crazy house or whatever. That's where I was for 3 damn days because of all of the stress and everything that was going on with Skyhouse. And it's a spiritual thing too. So when I start to speak about witchcraft and all of that with this, it's going to blow your mind, because a lot of people don't believe it exists. And I can't even say I never believed it exists. Parts of me really did, even as a Christian, because it's in the freaking Bible. So you can't defute somebody else's reality if it's sitting out there in front of you. But even that was involved in this situation. And I am going to speak more on that experience very, very soon. So just know, because I learned a lot in that, and it's a lot I really want to share with you guys as to why, you know, what I learned and why, and how it's going to benefit me, and how it has benefited me. So I'll be able to share that with you guys pretty soon. Shortly after that, I went into the system to check on my civil suit, because I'm diligently working on this. At the time, I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I went to the post office. So I went into the system first to check what was going on, and then I noticed that their attorney responded that they were appearing to defend. So to me, good sign. Good sign for me. That means that, okay, somebody's going to do something. We're going to talk, because they had been avoiding me for months. They had been avoiding me. Even when I served the paper, that was the reason why I served those papers September the 7th, because they were purposely ignoring me, knowing they were wrong. But knowing that this attorney responded, that's cool. Went to the post office, got that letter from the attorney that they filed in the system, same thing, but I started to get advertisements. I noticed some advertisements. So I ended up getting hold on. Okay, I figured I would go change the lighting or my position. I have me some chips. But what was I saying? Went to the post office, got the letter from the attorney, and then I got some advertisement from other attorneys or lawyers. So what happens is if any charges are filed against you, this was all messed up, but I had criminal charges filed against me by this woman, these people. The advertisements come, the attorneys, when they send you advertisements, please read them. They're giving you insight into something, whether you know what it is or not. And if you don't know what it is, don't just throw it away and think it's nothing. Please read them. This is how I found out that they had criminal charges against me. I assumed that their idea was to get me there and to do something that should not have been done or whatever. It was false. And it was concerning September the 7th. And if you guys remember me clearly, I said that's when I served her the papers of the first civil suit I tried to do with her. I served her the papers not really knowing that here in Florida, the way that you do it, that you're responsible for it, but that somebody else is supposed to do that. But that's neither here nor there. But I got these advertisements and I read them and I found it. And because court records and things are pretty much public, you have access to this information, and I'm speaking here in Florida because I'm new here, and so this is what I'm learning. But when you have, it's public. So to the attorneys, when they send you advertisement, it's because they go into the system and they go and look for people who are not represented or, who are possibly defendants. So, and they'll send you advertisements and they'll tell you, hey, I don't know what your story is or what's going on, but I could probably help you, They can't really help you with anything. I mean, I don't have anything against attorneys. I just have something against middlemans and everything, period. So thank you, Mommy, for that, for telling me that I like to take the middleman out of everything. And I do. I do. I don't like attorneys. Like, they don't know how to run your case the way you do. The only thing that makes them better than you, in a sense, is they know the law, and that's because they had to study it. But there's a lot of them who study it and don't really know moral law. So, yeah, got advertisements on that. Looked in there back to back in dates of when I got the lawyer's letter, when that was filed into the system, and then the very next day something else was filed, and then I immediately had an arraignment date. My arraignment date was January the 10th, I believe. The day before, I responded with a not guilty plea and just pretty much told them straight out, this is why I'm seeing this is why I'm responding. I'm not going to be there because this is some BS. Pretty much just saying I'm not guilty. This is what they're doing. This is why this is happening. And I would like for them to give me some evidence of this. Give me some evidence, even though I was the one with the evidence.
Yeah, all that shit. Oh, we go in through the front. So sick of bitch assness. So sick of bitch assness. And this is the epitome of it. Bitch over there. Her too. All these motherfuckers. So she got that motherfucker. I said,
She pick it up.
ain't no fucking excuses. It's right in her damn, right in her face. It's right in her fucking face.
Yeah, I had the evidence. Along with the attorney advertisements, that letter that I got was for an enlargement of time, and they needed more time to, I guess, make a plea about the allegations that I was given against them for the civil suit. And I did in opposition to that. I did a motion, which was I was oppositioning to that, gave more evidence as to why I was opposing this enlargement of time, because I just knew this attorney now had something to do with it. I even showed them, I provided the paperwork that was on file that I never received, that I was being arraigned for a criminal charge or whatever trespassing I was doing, unlawfully hurting or harming someone, whatever may have been said was all wrong. It was because she was not communicating and she knows she was wrong and it needed to be fixed, period. But yeah, I opposition to that. And then I receive a letter from the attorney's office once again. And now this letter is a letter that is threatening me, threatening to extort me of money, threatening to file a motion for attorney's fees if I do not dismiss this case. Now, I received this letter. They had already, this was written January the 11th, which is supposedly the day after I was supposed to show up to court for my so-called arraignment. So I had this letter, and they had already filed on the 13th of January a motion to dismiss, saying that I have no proof or evidence or whatever. So pretty much letting us all know that they're trying to confuse and prolong and get rid of evidence and whatever other things they may be doing to keep me from getting my due process, my due process, what was rightfully mine. You guys have stolen our Florida money. You have stolen my money. You have caused insurance fraud from that flood that happened into my apartment, and you decided that you were going to tag me for that. You decided that my apartment was the reason for that. That's what you decided to do. I know who did what and who did all. It's just, I know. I know. Again, this is for my protection. This was all illegal from the first eviction, from when I walked in the door of Skyhouse Orlando. I was a victim of discrimination and exploitation, embezzlement. This is what my story is. This is what happened to me, period. And I'm going to get my due justice. This is wrong. I am not the only one they've probably done this to. So I don't want to leave off without giving you guys 3 things that I learned from this entire experience, that I have something to take away with me to help protect me and other things. And probably more than likely, it'll help protect you as well. Number 1, my mother said it best. She know how to take the middleman out of everything. And I do. I do. And you do not need a lawyer. You do not need an attorney, but you do need to know the fucking law. You do need to know it. You need to know it as good, if not better, than the law itself. You already understand moral law, and if you live by a particular moral code that's of love, then you should be fine. But you still need to know the laws of the land that you live in. And start off by understanding the laws in the city that you live in. That's my first thing that I learned. 2, this is more so my dad. This is something he used to say to me. You don't have to force anything. Let people hang themselves. Let people hang themselves. This is exactly what they did. They knew they were wrong. So in order to cover up what's wrong, you're going to scramble to find a way to cover that shit up. And I have learned not to force my justice. Just let it unfold and let them do all of the work for you. Stay calm and pay attention to the facts. The feelings and the emotions around them, yeah, it sucks, it hurts, you pretty much got had, but you're still alive. Dust your shirt off, put your gloves on, let's get to work, start fighting. But before you throw a punch, let them do it first. You got all the rights. So don't interrupt a dumb person when they doing dumb stuff. Cause yeah, this is a moral code that I live by, period. And we hear it in the Bible, but this just pretty much makes sense. Don't return evil with evil, okay? Don't get all into that. Return truth in exchange for their lies. Your truth will always win, period. The truth given in concrete evidence is very, very helpful. So if you can find that within the paperwork and the steps and the videos and things that you do in it, do it that way. But definitely don't return evil for evil. A lot of times it's not necessarily against you. It's not always personal either. There are things where it is personal. I know that for a fact with my family. I'm coming for you. Personal, we make it one-on-one. I'm coming for you. But it's not always personal, okay? People deal with things. You don't know what people are going through. And when you don't know what people are going through, you coming at them in the way that they're coming at you is just adding more hurt and pain. So it's just, don't return evil for evil. It's stupid. But if somebody want a big fight, I got you.
This is a Ryan Little production.
Get my damn wife.
I just could not miss this opportunity to introduce to you all.
The tide, brother. The tide, man. The tide is hell, bro. Really.
How you get dressed like every nigga in the neighborhood.
Fuck you. You look just like me while you bullshit. Put the camera on yourself. No, look. Nigga, look at me. Yeah, look. Look, this nigga got the same shit I got on, basically. Always trying to dress like me while you talking shit. Huh. Take your damn phone.